Hi everyone, this is Dan, and this is Green Lantern Emerald Twilight and New Dawn. Art by Darryl Banks, written by Ron Marz. And I just finished Emerald Twilight, and I have no fucking clue what the fuck I just read. So I kind of get it now. Now that I've read Emerald Twilight, I kind of get what the big bugaboo is. At least why there is at least a lot of mixed reviews on just Amazon on this book, which is kind of interesting. Normally, people don't really give negative reviews on Amazon for content. That's why Amazon reviews are fucking worthless. But Emerald Twilight is... So, heads up, I had to actually do a little research after I read this because I was confused. So there's a bunch of Emerald Dawn books, which are kind of like... They're kind of like the Man Without Fear graphic novel type of books. They kind of retell the origins of Green Lantern and kind of retcon some Silver Age things for the future stories. In particular, the whole Sinestro training... Hal Jordan comes from the Emerald Dawn thing. I didn't realize that when I was going through the Silver Age comics. That never actually happened. That came from the Emerald Dawn book, or I guess Green Lantern Volume 2, I believe. Anyhow, so the story here is a certain bad guy fights Hal Jordan. Hal Jordan doesn't do so well, and Coast City gets freaking nuked. So, all of that you remember from the Silver Age, it all gets nuked. Everybody's gone. The whole city's gone. Everybody's dead. Whoa. Now, this would be really, really fascinating. Obviously, this is very powerful imagery right here. This would be a very fascinating opening to a comic if what happens later doesn't happen. I guess Hal Jordan kind of loses it, and he uses his Green Lantern powers to kind of bring everybody back. I didn't realize you could do that, but I guess the Green Lantern power, it's kind of limited to just your willpower and your imagination, so I guess it makes sense in a way. So he's kind of having this monologue with his dad, and it's a lot of character points of Hal Jordan. By the way, he has like gray hair, which I think also comes from Emerald Dawn, not from this story. And it's interesting. He's talking to his dad and his mom, and I'm gonna be dead honest. I'm not really big into this. Like, I get what they're trying to do here, which is show the gravity of his loss, right? But this use of the Green Lantern power just seems just a little bit too god tier for me. And so going through this, I'm kind of like, some of this imagery, I'm not feeling this. By the way, so Ron Marz did Sojourn, which I did a while back, and in defense of Ron Marz, this plot was not his. This was actually given to him by his editors, I believe. It was a bunch of other old-timey dudes from 90s DC that did this. So the quick and dirty is he tries to relive all this past stuff, and then his power ring runs out of energy, and the Guardians tell him, hey, you shouldn't be using your ring to be doing this kind of selfish shit. Report back to Oa for disciplinary action. He kind of loses his mind and just proceeds to go freaking Virgil from Devil May Cry on them. Really, really weird. Just a really... I don't know. It's not... I guess to criticize Ron Marz, it's not a believable heel turn. And to criticize all the senior editors of DC who created this plot, it's not necessary. I read this and I just sort of I don't get it. I honestly don't understand what they were trying to go, because it just gets worse and worse as you go through here, right? So he goes on a quest, and he just starts fighting all these other Green Lanterns. So he fights this chick and this dude, and he beats the crap out of them and takes their rings. Now he's got 3 rings. Guardians are starting to get a little bit worried on Oa. They send freaking Tomar 2, who's from Silver Age days, to fight him. And he freaking crushes him and beats him and takes his ring. And then this freaking loser shows up, and he gets his ass kicked and takes his ring. and it's just never ending. He just spanks the entire Green Lantern Corps, and it's one of those things where just sort of like why, like what is driving him to do this? He's never been this power hungry of a person. It's not really, explain why he would snap, right? Like he knows he can't bring back all these people. So what is the motivation here? He's just pissed. Is that really Hal Jordan? Like I don't know. So I guess it's kind of cool in a way. I guess the artist Darryl Banks gets to draw Hal Jordan beat the shit out of the Green Lantern Corps, and you get this really cool fight scene with Kilowog, and I guess this is where things really jump the shark for me. Like I really like. So this was mentioned in Green Lantern Rebirth, and I thought it was kind of cool looking back on it. But when I read this comic, I realized how much this story kind of jumps the shark, and that is the reveal of Sinestro being called forth from the power battery by the Guardians to fight and stop Hal Jordan. And this image is this is just fucking stupid looking. I'm sorry. Like Darryl Banks is a great artist, but this is really, really fucking stupid looking. I know DC, probably the biggest flaw I've always kind of found of DC is they don't do the Marvel style scripts. So the artist doesn't really have, like, DC has really good art, but the artist doesn't have a lot of control over what is shown because DC uses full scripts. Like Ron Marz is fully writing out everything that's going on right here and all of the imagery. Now, the execution of that is still Darryl Banks to execute, but that's always been a big bugaboo. I've never liked the full script method that DC uses, just because a lot of times art becomes very formulaic, and this is something that you like someone should have overruled Ron Marz on this. This is stupid. So why is this? So let me explain. Why is this jumping the shark? First off, Hal Jordan is this bad that he's doing all this stuff, and the Guardians are this base that they're going to pull Sinestro out of the freaking power battery to face him, right? You know what, Ethan Fitzkyver was right. This is a stupid freaking story. To be fair, it's not necessarily Ron Marz's fault. A lot of editors in the background, including Denny O'Neil, wanted to do this. I guess they felt, the Green Lantern was boring or something. I don't know. But anyhow, Sinestro calls him out and says, "Fight me like a man with only one ring." And, Hal Jordan obliges. They duel with one ring. Then you get this really epic scene right here. Hal Jordan overpowers him and breaks his neck. Just, what? Like, okay. And then, this is the one that really pisses me off. He freaking toasts Kilowog, and it's like, what? Like, how? Why? Like, yeah, I would throw the ring away. Clearly, you're not worthy of it, and to be fair, this whole story and the people who created aren't worthy of it. I mean, I guess you get this cool image. I mean, this is like, props to Darryl Banks. This is a dope-ass image. Too bad the character has no reason existing, and this story is kind of silly. I don't know. I guess, it's not a bad concept. It's certainly a great way to change it up and make it interesting. It's just a concept that doesn't make a lot of sense for me when I read it. It's just like, okay, a bad event happened to you in your life. So what are you going to do? You're not going to, learn from it to try to prevent that thing from ever happening again, like say what Batman does, right? No, I'm just going to destroy everything I stand for and all the people I'm sided with and just betray everything. What? Like, I don't, so now he's Parallax and he's a dick, breaks a ring, flies off, whatever, and we get Kyle Rayner, which is kind of whatever. I'll go over Kyle Rayner next, but yeah, the long story short is I think I get it now. I understand now a little better why Rebirth is held in high regard, because this story is just like, I don't want to say the quality is bad because the art by Darryl Banks is really good. I like Neil Adams' art more, but it's still good artwork. I don't think the writing is horrible by Ron Marz. It's very competent. The plot and whoever was an editorial, probably those guys needed to get fired. This was like straight up like when you bend a character so far, they kind of get broken, and like I kind of now appreciate Green Lantern Rebirth a little better because the freaking mental gymnastics that Jeff Johns had to do to fix this fuck up is pretty impressive if you think about it in the big picture, right? And also, this is another example of why people need to stop worshiping the '90s. The '90s were not that great, guys. They're better than what's going on right now, but they are certainly not that great. All right. Anyhow, that's the review. Let me know what you think. If you like the review, please hit the thumbs up to like it. If you've been thinking about subscribing, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You're gonna have a lot of fun on this channel. Hit the bell for notifications, and if you got any comment on Emerald Twilight, also aka the destruction of Hal Jordan, please leave it down below, and I'll see you next time, guys.